Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, welcome to the warbossfitz channel, and today we're going to be talking about tactics in one-page rules, specifically the ambush tactics. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the ambush rule. So here we have the core rules off of the one-page rules website, and here is ambush. May be set aside before deployment at the start of any round after the first, may be deployed anywhere over 9 inches away from enemy units. Players alternate in placing ambush units starting with the player that activates next. Units that deploy via ambush can't seize or contest objectives on the round they deploy. Now this is a very, very powerful tactic to use if you have units that have ambush. And there are a few different types of units to use for ambush. So we're going to talk about that today. And to do that, we're going to go into Tabletop Simulator and I'm going to show you some stuff. So here we are inside of Tabletop Simulator. I have got a couple of Op 4 units out there. We got some Crew Defense Force infantry squads, some battle tanks, ogre robots, and light APCs. And over here we have our ambushing units that we're going to show some stuff off with. We got storm mobs and a character out of the Goblin Reclaimers. We have Power Suit Guard from the Dwarf Guilds, Miners from the Dwarf Guilds, a unit of Blood Assault Brothers with a caster attached to them. We have 3 Battlesuits, 5 Elite Snatchers, 5 Pioneers, a Forged Spider, and the always feared Burer over here. So let's set up some situations to use some ambush stuff. Alright, we've got our ambush stuff set up into groups. We have our close combat ambush, we have our shooting ambush, and then we have our tunneling and surprise attack stuff, things that are going to be, popping up real close to the enemy. So let's look at our ambushing assaulting units down here. We have the Blood Assault Brothers with the caster. They are going to be focused on power. We have the Storm Mob with their character. They're focused on a 1,000 cuts type of strategy. We have our Forged Spider, who is kind of just there to be a brick. And then we have our Elite Snatchers. These guys, well, you use Elite Snatchers when you have enough friends. You don't need any more. So let's start off with the Storm Mob over here. We're going to put them on the board in a situation. Alright, so here in this situation we have our Storm Mob of ton of boys over here, ton of little goblins. They want to get over to this objective, and this infantry squad is here. Now, what do they have? They have jetpacks, which gives them ambush and flying. Now, they don't want to get shot up by other stuff. Let's say they don't have the first activation. So for flying, we can ignore this terrain here. So we are going to measure out 9 inches from there, and then we're going to line up our Storm Mob. So here we have our Storm Mob all lined up, ready to charge when it is their activation over top of all this terrain. Because they have flying, they can just ignore it completely into this infantry squad. So this unit is just going to move in. We have a 12-inch run, and with flying, that means we can even go up and over the top. So we have all that real estate there. So here we have our Storm Mob in combat. Now, when you go into combat, you have a 2-inch bubble from what you are attacking. So that would be this guy here. So 1, 3. Okay, so you got 2 inches thick there. So a lot of these guys are going to be able to fight. Each one of them has 2 attacks apiece, hitting on a 5 with Furious. They are most likely going to rip that infantry squad apart. Now, when they do remove this infantry squad, just remember, you're now squishy. You have the objective, but you're squishy. So if they had friends, you're probably going to take a beating. But that is the 1,000 cuts type of ambushing squad. Let's look at another one. Let's look at these Blood Assault Brothers. We're going to go for power. So now here we have our Blood Brothers lined up against a tank. They landed here. We're going to assume they have the first activation because, landing in front of a tank, even though they do have defense 3, isn't the best idea. They also only have AP 1 on their heavy close combat weapon. So running up against a tank normally wouldn't be the best idea, but they have a caster to really even the playing field here. Whenever you ambush, it is going to be on turn number 2. So this guy is a caster 3. He is going to have 6 points. And what are you going to do with those 6 points? You are going to cast Quickness on your squad. Target 2 friendly units within 12. They get AP +2 next time they charge. Now, there might be another squad there within 12. There might not. Honestly, in this situation, it doesn't really matter that much. You're going to want to put as many points as you can on this to make sure it goes off on a 2, because that is what you are trying to do, is kill this tank and take that objective. So the caster rolls his dice. Power goes off. Now all of our guys are AP +2, meaning all of our Assault Brothers are now AP 3, and then they jump onto their target here, including the Bloodmaster Brother. He has, I think I gave him 4 attacks. Either way, you can do whatever you want with him. That is going to be 24, 26, however many attacks at AP 3 on this battle tank, pushing it to defensive 5. It's not going to be having a good day. Let's look at our next contender here, which is the Forge Spider. I like to call this the Brick Ambush. Now, the Forge Spider on its own, it's nothing to be excited about with its damage output. It's got 6 shots at AP 1 hitting on a 4. It's got 6 attacks in close combat. But what it does have is robot and self-repair, plus a defense of 3. So if there is an objective that the enemy just isn't holding at the moment, you could drop this Forge Spider on there, and it is going to be able to reach out 24 inches and probably hold that for the clap back, unless the enemy has some real dedicated anti-tank on it. If anything, it's going to take the heat off of stuff that you have running towards them on the front line. So that's the brick tactic. Now the next assaulting ambush tactic is, I like to call this one the your friends hate you tactic. So we use elite snatchers. It's not them specifically, it's their combination of rules. It is the fast, strider, and ambush. So let's say you got something thick out here on the edge, like these ogre robots. You can deploy these guys behind a piece of terrain. We're still at 12.8. We could go all the way back here. Because when you are fast, your regular move speed or your advanced move speed is going to be an 8. Your charge move is going to be 16. So you can go all the way to here with a piece of terrain in between you, difficult terrain. These guys can't see you and shoot at you. And when it is your activation, you can just charge right through everything and get to them. This is the ultimate, I don't care where you are, I am going to reach you unit. This is the ambush. Like I said, 5 of them here. Your friends, they're not going to like it. But if you take 10 of them, you're just not going to have friends anymore. All right, next we are on to the shooting ambush units. So we are going to start with the Battlesuits. So let's say you come up to this objective here. You got an APC, you got a squad on the board. Now, with the Dow Union, they don't really have any assaulting ambushers. But what they do have is shooting ambushers. So what you can do with these in this situation here, you have flying, and you have range. These guys gave them the plasma guns, 24-inch range. So what you can do is you can just deploy down behind a piece of terrain, and then on it's their turn to ambush, just move them forward. And now, 24 inches out, they can blast anything. You're going to be using those as like a way to surround the enemy, hit them from multiple different angles. Let's say over here, the enemy has left this side unguarded. Maybe they had a unit touched in turn 1, and you shot them off or something. You can just deploy them here, and they can sit there, even though they don't take it on the turn at which they deploy, they can sit there for multiple turns, just blasting away with their 24-inch range. Next, we come to the Pioneers here. Now, these guys all have short-edge range. They're all 12 inches. We got 4 shotguns. We have 1 flamethrower. This is a ambush tactic I like to call the firework. These guys, you expect them to hit the board. They hit the board fast. They do their job. They explode, and they go away pretty fast because they're kind of squishy, but we're going to try to get the mileage out of them. So for these, you would put them, pop them up in a piece of terrain like this. So maybe they get a cover save to try to save something, but they're just going to pop up, and they're going to be able to dump all of their shots over into this squad over here, just to do as much damage as possible. And with their defense 5, even though they're in cover, they might not survive the clapback, or hopefully, if you got enough fireworks, You're just able to clear out everything that was going to attack you in the first place. Now we come to the Dwarf Guild's Power Suit Guard. Now these are, again, they're just another like heavier shooting unit. I wanted to put these on there because these guys are a special case. Don't ever expect these to get into close combat, like ever, because they are slow, and I'll show you the problem with that. Alright, let's say you are being very aggressive and you have deployed them in the ambush directly on, well, maybe even a little bit over the line, as close as you can get to an infantry squad. If you did outfit them for close combat, they would be able to go 8 inches. They're not going to make it on the turn they hit the ground. And if they don't make it on the turn they hit the ground, that means they have to make it on turn number 3. They're combat ineffective for half of the game. And even if they were to get that close, this squad just has to back up. You know, they can just keep backing up. You're never going to catch them. And if you try to do this like on a flank out here somewhere, that Dwarf squad is just going to be walking the entire game and not getting any effectiveness out of their weapon. So I just wanted to put a PSA out there about the Power Suit Guard. Take it with a Storm Rifle. It is a bit more expensive. Take the Storm Rifle, take the Exo grenade launchers, make these guys into a ranged unit because they are not going to make it into combat. Next, we're going to come to our short-range ambushers. We have tunnelers with the miners, and then we have surprise attack with the burrowers. So let's look at the miners. This is going to be a tactic I like to call the speed bump. So let's say in this situation, the enemy has something that is heading towards an objective, and you want to hold it off for at least one more turn. That's where the tunneler comes in. And here are our short, angry speed bumps. They came in 1 inch away from this tank. So let's say this tank needs to drive in that objective. It needs to take this objective this turn for some reason. These miners have completely stopped that. So even if this thing is fast, it has to go backwards, and then it has to go around them, and then it has to go all the way back over here if it wants to get a chance to get that objective. Otherwise, it has to stand there and shoot them, meaning that this objective is not going to be theirs this turn. So this is a little, little corner shot tactic, something you might not see all the time, but it's always good to have one unit of tunnelers just hanging out to pull something off like this. This might be a good thing to use on turn number 3 or turn number 4. Don't put much points into them if you want to use this tactic. Take them bare bones. You're using it entirely for that tunneler ability. I mean, you could shoot at it, but I mean, it might work. And then lastly, we have the Burrower, everybody's least favorite Alien Hives unit. I have lost so many dudes to this guy. So this, unlike the firework before, this one is like throwing a stick of dynamite in a toilet. This thing is just, you find the biggest concentration of stuff around an objective, and you drop it as close as possible. With its surprise attack, this model counts as heavy ambush and may be deployed up to 1 inch away from enemy units. Once deployed, roll X number of dice for each 4+. One enemy unit within 3 inches takes 2 hits with AP 1. So in this situation, the Burrower would just drop here outside of 1 inch. We'll say that's outside of 1 inch, so it is touching the objective. It's not going to contest it this turn because it just came down, but it's probably going to be alive next turn. And it has surprise attack 3, so it chooses the squad here. You get to roll 3 dice, and every 4 up, they take 3 hits at AP 1. With defensive 5, they're probably not going to last that long. And then, on its activation, it just charges the next thing. This thing is the bull in the china shop. It is the firecracker in a frog, the Alka-Seltzer in a seagull. It is just almost fire and forget. You put it into bad situations and it will fight its way out. Yeah, that's it. that's all I can tell you of the Burrower. So there it is, guys. That's an overview of different ambush tactics to use in one-page rules. Grimdark Future. Now, fantasy, it's mostly the same thing, except not that much shooting involved. You have your speed bombs, you have your firecracker units, you have your long-range assault units. I just wanted to get this out there as a tactical overview on how you can use the ambush skill. So that is going to do it for me tonight. I hope you guys had fun watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Share the video with your friends. I'm going to be going over different tactics in the next few weeks, and I hope you swing back around to check it out. So I hope you guys are having fun playing OPR wherever you are. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.